What's up, everybody? I'm Chris. This is BS for Build. Today we're gonna fix blown out airbags. They're blown out. Getting a little car wreck and you have a little airbag blow up in your face. Yeah, this might be the episode for you. Alright, first things first, with an exploded steering wheel, it actually has nothing to do with the steering wheel. Go pull the fuses for the horn. I don't have a horn, so you'll just hear clicking. Because I don't have a horn right now. Pull the fuses for the horn. Pull the fuses for the airbag situation so you don't blow your face off if you have an airbag that hasn't been deployed. And pull the battery off of your car. Do that. Alright, to pull off a BRZ, the steering wheel, you got to take off the cover of the airbag first, which actually holds the airbag in it. And the way you do that is grab a flathead screwdriver, and you're going to come, there's 3 holes in it. This is what I think, I'm not 100% sure. There's a hole down here, the base, and a hole on each side. And what you're going to do is slide your flathead through the hole, and you're feeling around for it's not really a spring, but it's a piece of metal that you're going to push against. So for instance, when you're coming in here, have your flathead with the long ways going this way, horizontally. With the steering wheel. Oh, I had it. And you're looking for a little piece of metal that's kind of springy. So I got it there. I think you got to do the bottom one first. Let me try and snag that one. There we go. So I depressed the bottom one, and I got the right side one. Let me try and get it out of the camera's way. See if I can pop off the left side one. You kind of just got to feel for the right piece of metal. There we go. So it's a little strange. It's a piece of metal that you're pressing the flathead against, and it's bending in, and it's unclipping this part of the airbag. Now that you have this here, you're going to have 3 wires in the back. One goes to your horn, and the other 2 are to your airbag system. So if you're like mine and you got a blown up airbag, you can just gently unclip these, and then this horn connection just slides right out. Alright, now that we got our clips off, after the airbags have blown up, a lot of times these clips melt because there's an explosive charge that goes off here, and it generates a lot of heat. And sometimes these clips become basically melted to themselves. So if you already have a blown up airbag, don't be afraid to break those off. You can always buy new ones or hardwire your new airbag in. So those are off. Next step is we're going to want to take the leftover airbag pieces out of here. Alright guys, so the next step to this is in the back of any of these steering wheels, what you're going to see is an explosive charge here. This is your airbag charge, and there's going to be a couple bolts that hold this in, and it holds in this massive amount of fabric, which is the bag itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull these 4 bolts off, and hopefully when we pull this out, we can pull all the fabric and crap with it from the back. Okay, well what we got out of here is there's this metal clip in the back that had all these studs on it. In front of that was this crazy bomb. Anyways, pulled that out. And then what we're left here is kind of the shell of our steering wheel. This is the part that we want to salvage, and unfortunately I hate to say this so early in the game, but this is going to be really hard to salvage. You guys can probably see right here that the plastic has been really badly warped, and it's stayed like that for a really long time. It's going to be really, really hard to get back into shape, but I'm still going to try, because when push comes to shove, I don't have anything else to put in that hole in my car. So we'll continue with this. When I fixed other airbags before, they weren't so badly warped, and they were able to kind of go back to looking normal. If Subaru sells just this plastic part, which most companies don't, then I would advise picking up that plastic part. But since most of them don't, and you have to buy a whole new steering wheel, it'd be a situation where you might want to think about buying a steering wheel. My thought is that maybe I'll take this steering wheel, do my best job on it, and then put this on the plan B, and then take the plan A steering wheel and put it back on my daily driver, so I have something a little bit nicer to look at. So anyways, I'm going to keep continuing and try and do the best that I can. So the next thing that you need to do is you're going to need to have a lot of access to the back of this plastic piece. So you're going to want to remove this metal piece here. And that looks like it's going to be done by popping the plastic away from the metal, and all these spots like here, 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 and here. We got our plastic face off of the metal. So the next thing that we do is plastic welding. All right, so the next part is pretty fun. Like I said, it's plastic welding. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna reform this back to as close to the original position we could. And like I said, it's not gonna turn out great. This was definitely, with the amount that this has been screwed up, it's not really salvageable, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it because it's all I got for the time being. But if you were gonna use this for like a show car or something, you'd wanna scrap this and probably start to be looking at a new steering wheel. For these cars, steering wheels though, they're $600 to $800, so it's kind of spendy. If you can do this and you can pull it off, it's definitely worth the trouble. So anyways, you get this back to the original shape that it was, and then you take, it's called a plastic welder. It's just a big iron, basically. And we'll go ahead and plug ours in right now. And then this heats up, and then you take these little sticks of plastic, and you add plastic in, and basically weld up the seams to this. So that's what we're gonna be doing next. Alright guys, so we got our back all sealed up, and this is kind of what it's going to look like on the back there. You can see I just went around all the seams where they were blown out when the airbag went off, and I just applied a generous amount of this plastic reinforcement. So then you end up with a front that's kind of like this. And like I said, this one's not going to be really fully repairable because you got these weird creases here. So the next thing I'm going to do is kind of go through with the iron again and start flattening out some of the high points, and then I'm going to add a little bit of plastic to the low points. That way I can then come back with sandpaper and try and clean some spots up.
Here we go.
So we went around and went ahead and just added a generous amount of plastic around all these areas, and some of them, I gotta fix that spot up. Some of them look pretty rough. The idea is we're just trying to get them built up enough that we can come back with sandpaper and bring it back down, try and smooth it out a little bit. I think both of these corners, that's where it was really protruding out, are gonna need to be worked on. So just a little bit more work here, and then I'm gonna hit it with the sandpaper. All right, so we got our piece all sanded up. Here's what it looks like. It is one solid piece of plastic now, which is a big upgrade. You know, there's a lot of rough parts. If you really wanted to make it a lot better, you could throw some Bondo or some different filler materials in here so you get it real nice and smooth. Again, this one, you could just tell it's warped, and that is from the airbag explosion. So, you know, it's never gonna be perfect, so I decided I'm gonna leave it, I'm gonna gloss over that. The next step in what I do with these things is we want a nice cover for this, a nice, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, anyways, we want to cover this. You don't really want to paint it. The paint would come off on your hands probably. It's a soft kind of plasticky weird material, but what does really well on these is vinyl wrap. So you got your vinyl wrap, and I had a couple different colors at home. I had this like flat matte black, and then but for this one I'm thinking about using this dry carbon fiber weave, because what it will do actually is help kind of hide the deformity in this. The pattern kind of throws your eye off, and it actually makes it look like, kind of covers up a little bit of the bends. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the dry carbon fiber wrap on this, and then we'll put it on the car and, you know, drive around with it that way for a little bit. And then if I don't like it, the cool thing about vinyl wrap is you can always just unwrap it and rewrap it with any other color that you want. That actually might be a good way to help me kind of set the tone for how I want to do the interior of the vehicle. I'm not a huge fan of fake carbon fiber stuff. Obviously you're not going to have a carbon fiber front steering wheel pad, because then you'd have carbon fiber bits blowing in your face when your airbag went off. But for this occasion, we had it laying around, and I think we're going to go for it. So that's the next step, is wrap this baby up with some vinyl wrap. All right, well that took a little bit longer than I had hoped. Actually took me 2 tries, and the end result wasn't really that great. But here's what we got. We got full coverage with the wrap, a couple creases in there that I didn't want. But the biggest problem was that the front face of this is just not adhering to the wrap, which is a bummer. So it's not really super stuck on there, but it's on there good enough. So we're gonna continue moving forward. I'm gonna steal the emblem off the other car, throw it through the front of this, and then we're gonna go ahead and reinstall on our BRZ. All right, we got our wheel cover. We're gonna clip on our handy dandy horn. Hopefully without too much trouble. There we go. Cover back on. Am I forgetting something? It just snapped in here the first time. There we go. And our cover's back on. Now, I've done this a couple times before, and I'm not ashamed to say that this is the worst it's ever turned out before. We knew that from the start, though, going in, that this was going to be pretty bad due to the warping of the piece of plastic from the airbag explosion. So that was a fun little how-to, and I've done this before on other cars and had it work really successfully. My Dodge Charger, I did this with it, and I've been driving around for 2 or 3 years that way, and it worked great. So yeah, that's how you do it. With this car, it's going to be interesting to see what we do. I think what I'm going to end up doing is grabbing the airbag and the front piece of plastic off the Plan B and putting that on here. And then for the Plan B, since it's a manual, it's just a plain all wheel. It's got no wheel controls. I'll just replace that with a Sparco or something else like that. That's better suited for racing anyways. So, although this isn't permanent, that was how you do it if you're doing it on your own car. All right, and with that, that is the end of this episode. Stay tuned for this build. We're going to get her on the road real soon. I need to pick up some registration as soon as possible, and then we're going to have her on the road. Oh, well, we got some front suspension work to do, and then we're going to have her on the road for a test drive. So exciting stuff coming up with this build. Thank you guys very much for watching. You can find us at facebook.com/BSforBuild, BS for Build on Instagram. You can find our shop if you want to pick up any of our merch to help out the channel. We got our t-shirts, key tags, lanyards. We got decals now. Check it out, BSforBuild.com. Scroll down to the shop is where you can find everything. And picking any of those things up helps support the channel very much. And it's all done through me. Nobody else is getting a cut. I'm packaging everything and I'm doing all the work to make sure that all the money goes directly into these cars and nowhere else. So thank you guys very much for supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. Other ways you can support the channel are like the video and subscribe to the channel if you like what you're seeing. I think that's it. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. Peace.